Hello! In this tutorial, you will learn how to create this light speed effect in Unreal Engine 5 using Niagara Systems. Now to get started, I'll delete what I have so that I can show you how to make this effect from scratch. Go ahead and open up your content browser and right-click to create a new Niagara system. Scroll down till you get to Empty Emitter and then hit Create. Let's rename this ns_lightspeed. Double-click to open it and drag it so that it's in its own browser. Now we can rename this emitter by selecting it and hitting F2. I'm going to call it Lightspeed. And now we need some particles. So under emitter update here, hit this plus button and choose spawn rate. I'm going to give the spawn rate a value of 2,500. And now all the particles are emitting from a single point and I want them to emit along a shape. So under particle spawn here, I'm going to hit this plus button and choose shape location. Now instead of sphere for shape primitive, use the drop down arrow and select cylinder. And now I want a really big cylinder, so under cylinder height, I'm going to change this to a value of 50,000. And now we have a super long cylinder. I'm also going to increase the radius to 1,000 so that we have a wider cylinder as well. And now if I look closer at this, I see that the particles are in the whole volume and I just want them to be on the surface. So I'm going to check surface only band thickness. And now we have particles on the edges of our cylinder, but I'm going to check off use end caps in surface only mode. That way we only have the particles spawning on the round part of the cylinder, creating a perfect hole in the middle. And so now we are ready to add some movement to this. So under particle spawn, we can add some velocity. Now we're getting this error and we just need to hit fix issue for solve forces and velocity. Once we do that, we see solve forces and velocity is now under particle update. And now we've got some particles moving. I'm going to adjust the velocity speed scale to -80. And I have it at -80 because in my level, I'm going to create the camera so that it's pointed up at the sky. And since I want the particles to come towards me, having a negative velocity scale will achieve that. And so now I am ready to change it from a sprite renderer. So check off sprite renderer and under renderer, hit the plus button and choose mesh renderer. And now with this drop down arrow under meshes, we can go under here and type in sphere. Go ahead and choose material sphere and then check on enable material overrides and hit this plus button to add an override material. And now we need to add a material here and it'll be a super simple material. Just right click to add a new material and call this m_lightspeed. Double click to open it and all we need to do is right click and type in particle and choose particle color and plug that in to base color as well as emissive color. And what this is amazing at is it will allow us to control the material further within our Niagara system. So just be sure to hit apply so that the particle color is taking effect. And then since I have my M Lightspeed material selected, I can just hit this button and it will pop in there. And now we can add some colors to this. So under initialize particle here, under color mode, change this from unset to random range. And then go ahead and select the color minimum and I'm going to give it a darker blue value, except I'm going to increase this value here to 50, which will add a glowing effect to the particles. And then for color maximum, I will choose a lighter blue and I will give this a value of 75. And that way it creates a little bit of variation with the amount of glow, which is nice. And so now that we have that ready, we are ready to adjust the size of our particles. So under mesh attributes here, mesh scale mode, change this from unset to non-uniform, and then use this drop down arrow to select random range vector. This will allow us a minimum and maximum, which will provide more variety of particles, creating a more interesting effect. So for our X and Y values, I want these to be pretty small, and then I'm going to stretch it with the Z values. So for the minimum of our X and Y values, I'm going to make them both 0.05. And for the maximum for the X and Y, I will make them 0.15. And now for the Z, I'm going to make them 1 and then 5. And now we've got some long particles coming towards us, which is great. So now I'm ready to head back to my level here And I will go ahead and add our Niagara System light speed to the scene now. And I'm going to go ahead and zero this out. And I'll move around since my focal point was where my camera was located, and I want to show you how to create the camera from scratch. So go ahead and use this drop down menu and go to Cinematic and choose Cin Camera Actor to add it to our scene. And now we can zero out this too since we zeroed out our Niagara System. And all we need to do is rotate on the y-axis 90 degrees, and now we have the particles coming towards us. So let's go ahead and add a level sequencer here. I'm gonna go to my sequencer folder and I'll call this SQ_light speed. Now I can pull this up a little bit and drag my camera into it. Now I want some more distance here, so since my cylinder is so long, I'm gonna pull my camera quite a bit back. I'm gonna pull it back -20,000. And nice. And now for this magic little effect here, for the current focal length, go ahead and make that 3. And boom, by distorting the camera's focal length, we've created a much more intense light speed effect. And now to just add a little bit more atmosphere to this effect, use this drop down menu and type in fog and choose exponential height fog. And for fog density, go ahead and make this 0.5. And for fog height fall off, make this 0.1. And then keep scrolling down until you find volumetric fog and check this on. And we're going to want to make the extinction scale 5. And now we can see some depth happening here. I'm going to increase the view distance to 10,000, as well as the start distance to 1,000. This will allow the particles to glow more closer to the camera, which is nice. And now I'm going to adjust the emissiveness just a little bit so that we have just a little bit of blue happening. I'm going to give this a value of 0.15 and then maybe desaturate it just a little bit more. And I'm happy with this. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I have more Niagara effect tutorials on my channel. If you learned something, please give this video a like and subscribe. That would help me out so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.